Okay, y'all. Tonight we got Dooney. He's done a lot. There are a lot of barbers out there that can't cut hair like myself, but this barber is very gifted. Not only is he a barber, instructor, school owner, he's Mr. Everything. He's gonna tell you all how he got into this barber game. He's gonna basically kind of give us his life story. So, Dooney, we're gonna sit back and listen to you. Tell us how you got started. Introduce everybody, who you are. Let them know who you are.
Okay. But first of all, thank you for that powerful introduction, Millionaire Barber. And what we have what you call New Dallas here, to where I'm gonna say this, that I want to be the zillionaire barber.
Mm-hmm.
Cause we got New Dallas say Zillionaire. Shout out to Zillionaire though, the rapper here, the little rapper, young rapper, is changing kind of him and his whole crew and everybody here that's a part of New Dallas is kind of changing the music scene as well as changing our community. But just to segue into from that, yeah, I'm Dooney. My nickname is Dooney, and I definitely have uh, been in the industry a little bit over 30 years, maybe 35 plus. But I've had my challenges in this industry. This industry has been good to me. It has been challenging to me as a barber, a licensed barber in the state of Texas. And so, but it's been a good challenge and it's been lucrative for me. It has helped me put my kids through school, a little bit through college and things like that. And so, yeah, I've been cutting for a while. So I've had salons. I've owned salons. I've managed salons. I've first got my license. Okay, um, and I just think in this day and time, I don't know what state everyone's in, but I'm in the state of Texas where we have to have our license. You have to have at least 1,000 hours, and you have to have went through the program of the curriculum to get your 1,000 hours in your practical time. And Texas do require you to have a barber or a beauty license or Cosmo license in the state of Texas. So I can't speak for other states, but I can speak for Texas to say that I've been a licensed barber. Uh,
You
from
said 30
I got
years?
licensed. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you said 30 years. Now, what made you become a barber? What? Tell us that.
Well, first of all, just growing up in Dallas, what made me become a barber just it was an outlet for me coming up in the community that I come up in, which is Oak Cliff. Oak Cliff. So that was an outlet for me. That kind of saved me. Some would say like the church saved you, like Jesus saved you. Well, this particular career saved me and gave me an opportunity. It gave me a vocation, or it gave me something to do with a talent that I acquired. Now, I acquired this talent when I was probably about 14, 15. Me and my cousins couldn't afford to get haircuts. So, an uncle of mine bought a pair of clippers. It was just adjustables with a guard, and the clippers we would use the clippers to cut each other's hair, and so that's how I learned the confidence of cutting hair. But and then it became a passion because I ended up cutting a lot of friends of mine, and like I said, growing up in Oak Cliff, started cutting some of the guys in the hood, and so to where I got good and I began to do designs. So I started being known as doing hair designs or parts, as well as fading someone before I even got my license. So one day my mom, was looking at my life. I was a young man, probably about 19 or 20, and she was looking at my life saying, son, you will get a job. You know how to get a job, but you don't keep a job because you move a certain way. And so jobs are more structured where you have to kind of pay attention and do it like they want to do it, and that's it. It ain't no in between and remaking it or reinventing it. It's just their process. And so she said, because you can't really function with that type of order and structure, I think you need to have your own business one day. She said, you know, you cut hair. I said, yeah, I was cutting hair, but I never thought about going to barber school. She said, why don't you go to barber school? Because my intentions was to go and try to go to a trade school or some type of junior college to get a computer science kind of degree or bachelor's degree, because my dad was saying that, and I'll make a long story short, my dad was saying that the future was computers. And so I've always been interested in things like that, but that wasn't my passion. That was just something that my dad told me about, um, that could make monies in the future, but it wasn't a right now reality to me from where I was in the hood. And so I said, well, I do like to cut hair and I got a passion. So my mom recommended that I find a barber school to go to. So I end up going up to Larry's Barber College on Ledbetter, and at that time it was Polk and Ledbetter in Dallas and Oak Cliff. And Larry's gave me an opportunity with financial aid to come to school, and I got my barber license at 2021, and I end up on my journey as a barber. And barbering, like I said again, has been good to me for this. Like, it has been economically sound to where I've been able to take care of myself as well as my loved ones around me. And it has been continued success. And so I do have a whole lot within my success story, but I thank God at the end of the day that the grace was up on me to give me some wisdom and knowledge to take my passion and my desire or my skill set that I acquired over time to become the reality and become lucrative for me to turn into a career. And so it's a lot to me. That was just the beginning. I mean, we can go from getting Clipper deals to dealing and partnering with Clipper companies and things like that with school. So, like I said, I just want to become the zillionaire barber, like the millionaire barber.
What
That's
was
all.
school like? Tell us what barber school was like, and also tell us what Oak Cliff was like, because you keep talking about Oak Cliff. You keep saying this word, but we need to know, what was that like? What is that?
Well, Oak Cliff is just like any other community across the country that's kind of, in my day, was impoverished or low income or the hood or the ghetto. You know what I'm saying? A place where opportunities really didn't present themselves. You kind of had to create something, okay, or leave the community. And so I'm a product of my community. I'm still in my community. You know what I'm saying? And so I give back to my community consistently. And so I would say that the whole Dallas Fort Worth area here is my community. But that was just a particular part where I spent most of my years growing up in, was Oak Cliff. But yeah, I've been in the Duncanville area for this business for a long time. But Oak Cliff, just to make a long story short, is a challenged community that has had its ups and downs, just like any other hood in any other city or state. You know what I'm saying? But anyone that knows that when they come from an environment to where you could be counted out or don't too much good come out that environment, then I would say that Oak Cliff has renamed itself with the current celebrities that's coming out of Oak Cliff now, of the southern sector of Dallas, South Dallas, Pleasant Grove, just everything on the southern side of Dallas, Texas, has a lot of talent, just as well as the other side of 635, which is North Dallas, that has a lot of talent. Then we have East and West Dallas, and so then we have Fort Worth. So we all a family, which we call DF Dub. And so I've been in the Dallas Fort Worth community, man, all my life. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a country boy now. I was born in West Texas, okay? And I was, and I come up in my early stages to about 9 years old, back and forth from Dallas to West Texas. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Vernon, Texas, Will Barker County. You know what I'm saying? So but I would say 95% of my life has been here in Dallas, growing up and experiencing the challenges. Again, like I said, coming out that community, along with all the other great names that have come out that community. And so we just try to give back, to the community and still be an influence and a positive role model. So ain't too many black businesses in my area, that's from this community, but we have a lot of black entrepreneurs in Oak Cliff, DFW abroad, that are African American. So I thank God for the opportunity.
Now, when you were in barber school, can you tell us how barber school was, and then tell us what you did when you got out of barber school. So what were you doing while you were in barber school? And then tell us what you did when you got out.
Okay. Barber school is basically a training center just like any other center. And if you're going to become a professional barber, I would suggest anyone, especially in the state of Texas, to experience barber school, because barber school we kind of help you understand from its historical point of view of what barbering is. Because most people, especially the new barbers in this new day and time, think that barbers are just YouTubers, or they just learned some on YouTube, and so they ordered some clippers, and because they seen the video on YouTube, that they barbers now. You know, barbers come with a lot when it comes to the history of barbering. Barbering been around for years before we was here, and it's going to be around years after we leave. It's one of the oldest professions in the world. You know, even the red, white, and blue behind me. The blue means veins. You know what I'm saying? The white means bandages, and the red means blood. And so the common barber, or a real barber, would know that off the top when they see the sign of a barber pole. Okay, and so a lot of barbers nowadays hadn't taken the time to go through the science of what a barber is. So a barber is a counselor. A barber once was doctors and dentists and those that participated in surgery and bloodletting. And so you can go all the way back to the ancient times of Egypt, the pyramids, to where the first barber or her stylist that practiced henna and barbering was Mary Ma'at. And we teach this all the time, out the Milady's book, what I'm saying, things like that. So the history of barbers has been around for years of what a barber is: a tonsorial, a tonsor, one that the top of the head, that shaves the head, that's it. And we are influencers. We cut influencers. We are attached to those that in politics, those that are in entertainment, those that are in leadership of the communities, church, whether it be churches or other businesses. Barbers are those that are the pillar of the community when it comes to helping someone beautify or look good or have confidence within themselves. Everyone has to go to a barber or a cosmetologist or someone that does hair to help them look good, or to make them look good, or to assist them in looking better. But it builds confidence. So barbering, yes, is going to be around for a long time. So what motivated me to be a barber, and when I was in school, is learning the history of it, what it is to be a barber, instead of just seeing it on the YouTube and want to be a microwave barber. Because I think a lot of these microwave barbers got to go to school to learn anything when it comes to the science and the and what a barber truly is. You know what I'm saying? So that's my take on it. But when I graduated, um, I end up, while you're in barber school, you begin to think of things you're going to do when you graduate and once you get your license. And so I said, well, once I get my license, I want to take this step, and this step. And one thing about barbering, it's a career or an opportunity or a vocation, to where one, it don't make no difference what ethnicity you are, or what color you are, or what race you are, or what sex you are. In barbering, you can use this particular career to control, not only that, but control your schedule, to put you in a position to take care of yourself as well as your family. And again, it gives you the freedom or the liberty to be an independent contractor, to whereas you can move how you want to move, you can make your schedule how you want to make it, and you can run appointments to whereas you'll know how your day is going to go, basically. And so I've loved this career. There's ups and downs and pros to cons to any career. And I tell all my students, I said, if I get tired of doing anything, because when we work and we get complacent and we do, and I'm gonna wrap it up right here, and we get into our mode in what we're doing, whether it be a new job or an old job or the job we've been at for 15, 20, 25 years, then we get tired of it, to whereas we need a vacation, or we need to unplug, or we want to do something else. Well, in this career, because I love this career, I said, if I'm going to get tired of doing anything, I'd rather get tired of doing what I love to do. And so sometimes when I have to take a break or get away sometime, I do that, because you have to do that with anything you're doing here in life if you're doing it repetitiously every day. And so when I take a break and away from it, and when I come back, I'm coming back to something I love to do. I've been doing it for years, and it's a gift that God has given me with my hands to create wealth. And that's in the Bible. God will give you a gift to create wealth. So the gift I have with my hands is something I have that God has blessed me with to create wealth. And so because of that, then it's something that not only has taken care of me in the past and that's taking care of me right now, but it's also preparing and perpetuating my future so it can set up a wealth lineage or inheritance for my kids and grandkids. And so that's the mission I'm on now. I'm on that next level of being what you call building wealth and leaving wealth and transferable wealth. So that's where my mindset is now. And so, but yeah,
Now, did you work at a shop or own your shop? Can you tell us about that?
yeah. Well, one thing, just a real quick story about my I guess my ladder and climb to success was in school. While I was in school, I met a friend of mine, and I ain't gonna say his name out here, but we came up with some ideas. So whereas we didn't have enough money to branch out on our own, but we made a promise that when we finished school and got our license, that we would open up a shop together. And so those that are, I can't say the shop, those that are familiar with me in the city of Dallas, in the Oak Cliff area, uh, would remember a shop called Cuts for You, and we was on Camp Wisdom, and me and him, we graduated, and we end up going to other shops when we graduated because we graduated at different times. So I came out before him, so I went to a shop to work at, and he came out a little bit later after me, and he went to another shop. And so, but we still had the idea of what we was going to do when we got our money right. And so once we got our a little money right, we saved a little money, and we talking back in the day, and we saved a little money, and we opened up a shop called Cuts for You on Camp Wisdom in Dallas, Texas. And so we was there for about 3 years. And so in 3 years, I'm at that time, I'm in my mid 20s, and my partner and everyone we had hired with us or that was on our team was under was younger than me, and so they was in their young 20s. And so we had a young booming shop on Camp Wisdom called Cuts for You with a whole lot of young barbers and young men in there cutting, to whereas we had it so hot in there that the landlord, after our lease was up, would not renew our lease because we were young men in there, 25 and under. I think I was the oldest, that's 26, and they said y'all can't be having that much business in there as a barber shop. And so she thought, and it was a lady at the time, she thought we was actually selling drugs at the barbershop. And I know barbershop had this stigma of being, a lot of trapping going on and thing, because I'm from the hood, y'all. But at that time, we really had skills to cut hair, so she would not renew our lease. And so we had to make some changes and things. And so I told my friend, my partner at that time, I said, well, why don't we do this? At that time we had a little money, so I said, you go your way and I'm gonna go my way. He said, I think that's a great idea. He said, I'll take the name over here and you could take the name over there. And so I was gonna name my first shop, solo shop, Cuts for You #2, because he had Cuts for You #1, because that was my partner. We didn't have no disagreement. It's just that since this time presented itself and we outgrew each other and we was ready for our own, because we experienced being owners together, now we was ready to branch out on our own. And so as I began to look for my location of Cuts for You #2, that's when because my name was growing in the community as a hair designer and someone that's really kind of gifted in what they're doing, and I was a rare commodity in my community, I said I'm gonna name it after my nickname. So I went with my name, which is Doonies, and that's the name that rings in the community right now, Doonies. You know what I'm saying? But those that know me and have watched my career blossom would know me from my first shop, Faces. Shout out to Leon and T. And then like I said, I went to Larry's Barber College, and then I went into Faces. Then I went to, like I said, Cuts for You. You know what I'm saying? And so, and after I experienced my own shop for a while, then I wanted more challenges, because now after opening up salons and suites and having that blueprint and have done that blueprint, and it has been successful for me. I had my ups and downs and things like that, to whereas I wanted to do something now that's challenging for me. And so I decided to go back to school, and that's when I ventured into the largest barber college in the state of Texas. At that time was called Texas Barber College. Okay, and I studied under the leadership of the vice president there, which is Anthony Reed. And so shout out to Texas Barber College, the Bundys. Shout out to Anthony Reed, which was my mentor, and to this day still one of my mentors. When it comes, it's not the mentor when it comes to how to operate and run a barber college. So I learned from the best, and in order to be the best, you have to learn from the best. And in order to be a leader, first you have to be a follower. And so I followed Mr. Anthony Reed there at Texas Barber College. And as I went up through the ranks after getting my instructor's license, I went up through the ranks because I wanted to first work as an instructor. I wanted to learn how it was to run a school. And so at that time, Texas Barber College had 7 school campuses in the state of Texas, and they probably had maybe 150 to 250 students per campus. And so one day I was sitting down at the round table, and I'm just gonna put a little a business out there, and um, and they mentioned the money they made the previous year, and it was in the millions. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm in the wrong field. No, so but I was already on my verge to where I wanted to own my own school, because I knew it was going to be even more lucrative, but it was more responsibility, but it was going to empower me in a more I think higher position, to whereas now not only could I help the community, which is giving back, um, and offering them a job, but now I can put them in a place to where I'm connected with multiple jobs and multiple shops now in my community, and I can say, hey, you guys, when you get your license, I know plenty of people that got salons and shops that would love to have you, or we would teach you how to open up your own and run your own suite or your own business when it comes to sole proprietorship or LLC. So our students, when they leave doing this academy, not only is gifted with the skill set, and not only is focused on getting their license and getting a license. We have a 98.5 passing rate here at Doing This Academy when our students go take their test, but they also are focused on how to experience the entrepreneurship and know what an independent contractor is. So a lot of them don't even look for salons and shops to go into, because they're past that blueprint, to whereas they either focus on a school, or they're focused on their own suites, or they're focused on opening up their own salon, a beauty spa, before they, as they're graduating. So they be on other pages when they leave Doing This Academy, man. So we have a lot of alumni out here doing great things, man, that we in the future have to talk about, Millionaire Barber, that I have to put on the platform, to where they reached great success and they doing great. And you can go on the website. You can go, those that are listening to Doing This Academy, and you will see some of the testimonials of those that have come through the school. And we only been in here for probably going on 6 years now. But God has truly blessed us, and we're just taking one day at a time. And pay your taxes, okay, everybody. You know what I'm saying? And just being in compliance of the rules and regulations here in the state of Texas. So shout out to TDLR. They're doing a great job in rebuilding the website, rebuilding everything, the whole structure, to where they can put a little more things back in place when it comes to being a licensed practitioner now in the state of Texas, which is another a word for Barbara and Cosmo here in the state of Texas. But practitioners, you all, shout out to all the practitioners in the state of Texas. You know what I'm saying? Respect if you got your license. If you don't have your license, please go get your license. You know what I'm saying? Even if you don't come to Doing This Academy in the state of Texas, if you don't get your license, I have to say this, and I'm going to say it, and you can replay it and replay it and replay it, Millionaire Barber. And you've heard it from Dooney the Barber. Go get your license. If you do not go get your license, you are considered a fugitive, an imposter. Okay, you're not legitimate. You're illegitimate. Okay, so I have to say that, and I have to stand on all 10 toes in the state of Texas and let you know, please don't be a fugitive. Don't be an imposter of our career or our profession, because it's dumbing it down to think, or you dimming the light to think, or you degrading the profession to think that you don't have to go through to a school or some type of science to learn enrichment of what this profession holds. So yeah, go get your license, go get the right documents that you need so you can elevate to the next level, because God is not going to give you that next level if you're not qualified. So go get in compliance. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't choose our school, we understand. But if you don't have a school to go to and you would like to get in compliance in the state of Texas, then we pray that you would choose Duna's Academy.
Now, when did you start thinking about opening a school? Because we got 1 million beauty pros in the United States. It's not a lot of school owners. So when did you start thinking about that school, and what made you move forward to open it? Because a lot of people are scared to open a school.
Mm. Well, I've always been that's a good question. Thank you for asking that. But I've always been a risk taker. And so what motivated me, or what inspired me to open up a school, is because I like a challenge. And like I said, the challenge that I needed to accomplish, I had already accomplished it when it comes to opening up a salon or suites. And I had my ups and downs. I've had my failures. I've had my best times. I've had my worst times. You know what I'm saying? And anyone that has been in business as long as I have, know what I mean. Why you know it's not always good on the other side, or it's not always gravy. And sometimes you're gonna have bad moments and good moments, ups and downs when it comes to business. It's not gonna always be just the best of the best and going, and it's always up. It's gonna have its levels. Okay. But what inspired me was, like I said, that challenge was over, and that blueprint was over for me when it come to suites and the salon. I had no desire to do that no more because it wasn't a challenge. So my challenge now is the next level, the only next level after owning salons and suites, and have doing this for a while. Even if you don't have not owned suites or salons, just being in it for a while, then you're gonna want something to challenge you within your industry. And so that was my challenge, to open up a school. So in order for me to build school, I had to go learn on what it is to even from the bottom to the top, to even learn what it is to even go to school to become an instructor. You know what I'm saying? Because at that time you couldn't even own a school unless you had your instructor's license. And so I wanted to go get my instructor's license. Then I wanted to get hired on at the school so I can see the fundamentals of what they're teaching when it comes to the curriculum now. Because back when I got my license, a lot of things has changed since then. You know what I'm saying? And so I wanted to go learn what was going on now so I could be more impactful and influential in my community, as well as teaching students now instead of hiring people. But I wanted to be able to teach them and also get them gainfully employed with other salons and shops. And so that was the thing that inspired me to go to school and to learn from the best of the best, which is Texas Barber College. And then from there, with the blueprint, a lot of things they shared with me gave me the confidence to, hey, well, I think I can step out now and kind of, see how this works for me. And because I'm a product of my community, it only made sense to come back to my community and open the school up first here before I branch out and affect, any other communities in the city or outside the city in other cities or states. But and just to have a fundamental base to what you do is a blessing that I have here in Dallas, Texas. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I opened up a school, and I had the confidence to open up a school because I have built a reputation by the grace of God in this community. So it only made sense to open my first school in my community, on which I'm a product of, on which people know me from. And I figured I would get more support better in my own community. And it has been a success. And now I'm ready. Now I'm open to branch out and, even on the level of franchising I'm a part of the franchise initiative here in the city of Dallas under the leadership of our mayor Johnson, Eric Johnson, and Carlos. And so they started a franchise initiative to whereas, yeah, I'm even open for that to where we can franchise the blueprint, that God has been blessed to give me with. And so, but as we move on now to, just connecting with you and your team. And so again, you know, your expertise now, after all that, if you want to be around greatness or be greater, then you have to put yourself around greatness. And so I'm around greatness right now with the Millionaire Barber. And every time I talk to you, what I always tell you, I want to become a millionaire. You know what I'm saying? And then I want to become a zillionaire. And so, I'm honored, man, to be on your platform. And thank you for having me. And man, whatever I can do to help anyone like you've helped me, just to get to the next level. And hopefully my testimony or my story has inspired uh, someone who is listening. But now that's not to include now I'm partnered with Heineken Clippers. You know what I'm saying? Clipper brand out of Switzerland. They've been in business 80 years. Um, they're a family-owned business. So shout out to Heineken. They're over in Switzerland. They're making a presence felt now here in America, real strong. And I call them the parent company of Oster. So any of you OGs out there that have used those detachable blades, man, under Oster, well, this company is the company that was making those blades for them, and Oster was kind of putting a tag on it. But this is the parent company. So since Oster really not really affecting the barbering industry like they used to maybe 15 years ago or 10 years ago, well, this company is stepping in now to replace Oster. And they're the original parent company anyway when it comes to the octanes and all that. So you about to see, some serious stuff going on, some Orion stuff going on, some Turo stuff going on. So shout out to Greg Peterson over there, man. He's the operator, the chief in charge of the American part of what they're going to be doing over here in America. And shout out to the head lead educator over there, David Guerin, who they both was operating and running Oster before Oster, transitioned. And so now these guys are running this company here in America, from with partner as their partner with Switzerland. And so shout out to my team lead, the Renegade, David Guerin, and shout out to my man Greg Peterson, man. They're my peoples. And shout out to the whole Heineken team. You know what I'm saying? I can't name all y'all. Y'all know, what's about to happen. So, we about to yeah, y'all tap in with us, man. And Heineken professionals, man. So yeah, tap in. Doing the barber, man. They call me Texas, the cowboy barbers. I usually have on my cowboy hat, but right now we just got out of class and we're getting ready to close the school down for the day.
Now you worked at an accredited school, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so with you working at an accredited school, did you notice how much money they were making? Because I share a lot of times about accredited schools, and I tell school owners how much money they're gonna make, and then once they get accredited, that's usually when they started becoming millionaires or hitting seven figures or whatever. But you worked at an accredited school, so can you talk a little bit about that, the money part or anything? Because we got a lot of people on here who want to be school owners. Some are school owners, but they're not accredited yet or whatever. But since you worked at an accredited school, maybe you saw something or can share the money part or whatever.
Well, I can say this, that anything you get, you know, assistance, a financial assistance to help the community and put them in a better position, then it's going to always be even more lucrative. But there's responsibilities that come with being accredited. So what I seen up close and personal at Texas Barber College, was the responsibilities that come with receiving those funds from whether it be VA or whether it be Title IV funding. You have to be accountable and make sure your paperwork is in compliance, or you reap the consequences. Okay, and so accreditation, yeah, you can come up from a thousandaire to a millionaire overnight. When it comes to your accreditation, so it is a good thing because it can become real lucrative, but it could be a curse or a bad thing if you don't make sure your paperwork is in order. So yes, can you become millionaires? I've seen it happen. And like I said, one day I was sitting at the round table and I just overheard the conversation of what was made last year, to whereas I knew that this was my destiny. But again, be responsible, keep your paperwork in order, and pay your taxes. And so, yeah, so I'm a strong believer in that.
Now, when did you first start following me?
Man, I thought you come across and you said you was a millionaire barber, man, and you had took off a wig. You took off a wig, and I said, "Who is this cat?" And so, and I said, "Man," and I started listening to you because you was promoting the all the other stuff. But you just kept saying, "I'm the millionaire barber." You want to open up a school. You know what I'm saying? And then a lot of your commercials, man, you definitely impactful, and you just showed that hey, it's levels to this. And so I appreciate you just stepping out there, man, and the information you have to help us through the levels. But in order to go on that level, just to answer your question, you got to, take risk, be a risk taker, and believe in the testimonials of what the organization have done for others, because you can only judge a tree by its fruit. And so just looking at and watching you from a distance, you remember I got on a couple of lives with you, and you were like, "Man, you just come see me. I'm gonna help you." And so I said, I'm gonna come see you soon. I just was trying to get a lot of things together, and I had just opened up the school, so I'm juggling a lot of things on just trying to stay in compliance with the state. We're not even talking about funding from other resources. Well, I'm just talking about with just TDLR, making sure I'm in compliance with the paperwork here to make sure they get the proper paperwork that they need in order to operate as a legitimate school in the state of Texas. And so that's what I was dealing with the first 3 years, just trying to do that. So now as that I done got comfortable with that, to whereas every time they need some information, I can get it over to them. I'm familiar with it. It comes fluently. Then now I think I'm ready to take on other challenges when it comes to assistance and Title IV funding, or any type of VA assistance, GI bills, for the veterans to use their GI bills. So yeah. So yeah, it can become lucrative, and I say take risks, but just be responsible when you take risks, and that's in anything you do when you open up business. And I'm just speaking for the state of Texas, so I'm not really acclimated in other 49 states on how they state does it when it comes to regulating barbers and beauticians or practitioners, but I'm just speaking on the state of Texas.
Now when you joined the program for the VA, for
Mhm.
our team to do that, what were you thinking when you joined? What was in your
So
mind?
you talking about when I wanted to
When
join
you
the VA program?
Yes, and then you hired our team to do the VA paperwork for you. What were you thinking when you hired our team?
Well, like again, I was thinking, like I've been thinking since the first time I met you, that one day I'm gonna hire your team to do this, but at the same time, I wasn't ready to hire them in the past because it's more paperwork, it's more responsibility, and again, I was just trying to get familiar with just the state regulations first when it comes to TDLR, and so as I got comfortable with that, is when I reached out and said, you know what, I'm ready now to offer services, offer those GI Bill services to our veterans, those that have served in the military, those that have given their all for our country, that we may be able to have a barber school. So shout out to all our veterans. Shout out to all those that have served in our at our nation's capital, served in our military forces, from National Guard to all the other four branches, to all the other branches. But and like I said, I would have to say that this is the greatest country to ever live in. when it comes to the red, white, and blue. So as we pray for our president and all the leaders of the land and his administration, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to President Donald Trump, you know what I'm saying, and our opportunities. But again, I wanted to offer these services to our veterans, you know what I'm saying, that are interested in obtaining license to become a licensed practitioner in the state of Texas and further their careers, get involved with just this industry period if they have a passion for it. You know, if you don't have a passion for it, then I would say find something you like to do. You know what I'm saying? But if you have a passion for it and you've been in the military forces and you might have cut in the military forces or you've had a desire to always want to be in this industry, then you are the ones we're looking for. You are the ones we have the door open for if you would like to attend. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's what, but it's definitely lucrative.
So how did that process go with the ladies, the team doing your paperwork? Can you tell them how that
Now,
went?
the process of you all getting involved, I knew y'all with pressure. If anybody watching this show, pressure, how they using it today, I mean they off the chain. They are the ones that you need to help you get it done. And I would vouch and say definitely tap in with the Millionaire Barber and his team because they're gonna put your paperwork in order and structure it how those that need to hear it or need to see it on paper is going to see it because you already have if you're ready for those type of VA services or type GI Bill services or even Title 4, that means you should have your paperwork in order. So when you deal with the Millionaire Barber and his team, just give them the paperwork they ask for, and I guarantee you it's going to be an easy process, easier than you think. It more easy. I didn't know it was gonna be that easy, but thank you all because that was easy. And I'll be the first to say, listen, if you are interested in offering them services, definitely, definitely on everything, hire the Millionaire Barber and his team. That part.
What do you think if you just would have did it yourself? Because some people say,
But
I just do
uh,
it myself.
and it can be done. I mean, you got AI now, you got all that, but I would say I would say this. I mean, if you got time, I mean, it's gonna be hard to run a school and do all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Or just do it. But I mean, anything's possible you put your mind to. But I would just say to eliminate all the stress and eliminate all the time that you can be doing to build the school, to structure your school. You know what I'm saying? I would say hire the Millionaire Barber and his team. And what's so amazing about it is that you all are reasonable. You know what I'm saying? And so that's all I'm gonna say. You was reasonable. You know what I'm saying? So it was never a money thing with me when it came to hiring your team. It was more of a responsibility thing because I value responsibility and I value even the universal principle to whom much is given, much is required. So I just don't want to just jump at something because it's more lucrative, but I want to be able to understand the responsibility that comes behind, dealing with funds that people in the world just desire all kind of monies and funds, and that's all good, but you got to be responsible and know what you're doing and use it wisely and use it accordingly on what its purpose to be used for.
Um, okay, Dooney, we got a lot of people on here that are in the beauty space. They're thinking about getting to school. Some of them work in shops or salon suites. What advice would you give them?
Um, just read about it, learn about it. You shouldn't join any organization or create any organization without the proper information in order to for it to run properly, because you don't want to just jump into something because you looking at it from the outside and not understanding it from the inside. So learn it from the inside, which is studying it, learning it, reading about it, get around the right people can give you the right information about it if that's something you desire to do. And therefore, when you get the proper information and you have all the information that you need, then it would give you more of a confidence if uh, in pursuing it or not pursuing it. Because sometimes you can learn about something and say, you know what, I don't think I want to deal with all that. And then, you know, you might be comfortable where you're at. But if you do desire to open up a school or any duo school or just a barber college or cosmetology college, just learn about it. That's all. Just do your research. And when it comes to the laws and regulations of your state, do your research and stay in compliance on what goes on and what your state requires when it comes to you operating a barber and beauty school, and you'll be okay. And if you're a good people's person or a good business mind, then you'll know these principles uh, by now. If you've already done salons and suites, then you should have the mechanics psychologically to understand that there's things and paperwork that comes with it. So long as you're in compliance and you have have that confidence, I say go for it. You know what I'm saying? But read about it and do your research and get around people that can kind of take you under their wing. Like I'm under Millionaire Barber's wing. Hey, he been doing it longer than me. He been more successful longer than me at doing this. So why wouldn't I listen to Millionaire Barber? Now I know he's saying, hey, I don't claim to know it all, Mr. Dooney, but I promise y'all, and I can put some money on it, that he know way more than me when it comes to this. And it's a 99% nine chance that he know more than you. So tap in if you want to go to that next level, and I will vouch for him to say that you would go to that next level and own the school, as long as you have someone like being a part of our whole structure and our team here, with especially and being a part of the network. But if you tap in with Millionaire Barber and his team, you definitely will see your dream. Ooh, I'm out to coin that.
I'm at the corner too. Junie, do you have like a couple of minutes for Q&A? Because I see some questions on here.
Yeah, let's talk. Let's
Okay.
talk.
All right.